Hey everybody, I thought we'd talk about meet.google.com today. It's the system we're using to communicate with our students while we are away from them and while we're doing virtual learning. So first thing you need to do is open up your Chrome browser, make sure you're signed into your teacher's account, and then navigate to meet.google.com. Once you're at meet.google.com, you'll see it'll probably be a different piece of art for you. Google is really cool about this. They put up art and some of their websites as a background, and it rotates from day to day so that we can all have a much more beautiful life as we're exposed to art. And if you're curious, at the bottom, you have the name of the painting, the artist, and a website where you can go learn more about it. So let's go ahead and get started with Google Meet, though. You see over here where it says to join or start a meeting, and nothing's scheduled today. We're not going to cover scheduling meetings today. We'll do that in a later video. But if you do, they show up there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and join or start a meeting. This is what you would do if you wanted to get ready to start a meeting for your classroom. Click that. Join or start a meeting. All right. Now, it says here you can enter the meeting code or nickname. Or if you want to start your own meeting, enter a nickname and leave it blank. I'm going to leave this blank. I'm not joining the meeting, and I don't really care what I name this meeting because I'm using it just for demonstration. Now, if you are trying to invite someone to join your meeting, where it said enter the code, you can give a student a code, and I'll show you how to find that, but I don't recommend it. It does work, but there are easier ways for the kid to do it with a little bit extra work on our part, which makes it that much easier for the kids to join the class and pay attention to the lessons. So we're just going to go ahead and continue. And notice it's getting ready. It pulled up my webcam, so you see me now. Let's go over some of the things we see here. Of course, you see that you're in the account. You can switch accounts if you want to, if your computer holds more than one account. Mine does, but I'm not bringing up my other accounts. You can go here. This is the link for joining this particular meeting, the one that I'm about to start. That code will switch every time you start a new meeting. So whenever you get ready to start a new meeting, if you're starting from Meet, not if you're starting from Classroom, that's different. But if you're starting it from Meet, it'll be a different code every time. Now, let's say one of your kids loses internet access for some reason, but they've still got a working cell phone. They can dial a number that you get, and that number will change. Same thing with every meeting. And once they dial in that number, they'll be said, hey, you're trying to join a Google meeting. What's the PIN number? They get punched in that PIN number. You were told that they are joining your meeting. You accept them, and boom. You'll see their phone number pop up because, of course, Google doesn't know who that name is associated with that phone number. So you'll just go say, hey, phone number 555-5555, who is it that just showed up? And they can either talk to you about it or they can express it in the chat, which I'll show you the chat in a minute. You have your join, present, join using your phone for audio. I'm not going to go over that today. Some of these are a little bit more, not worrying about it. You should try to use your computer for audio. That way your voice and your video sync up, if that's an option for you. All right, now down here under the video, you see a couple things. This little wavy sound wave system you see going on there tells you that my microphone is working. If it wasn't working, that would just stay like that. It would just stay dead. So my microphone's working. That's good. You can see my face, which means my camera's working. Let's say I want to join this meeting without using my camera, though. I do recommend letting your kids see your face. Facial features are how I always communicate. And so I can turn the camera off, though. Click that button, and it says camera is off. I can also turn off the button that says microphone, and my microphone is off. Now, you still hear me because I have a separate class. I have a separate meeting over here that I'm running to demonstrate this system here. All right, so I'm going to leave the camera. I'm going to turn everything back on. I might get some reverb. We'll see in a second. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mute. Just because I didn't want any kind of weirdness since I'm recording off of Meet and running a Meet at the same time. So now you see what my students see. Now, if you look up in the upper right-hand corner, it says you're always going to be on the top there. And it's muted right now because I've muted myself. If I unmute myself, you see the little sound icons appear again. That's, again, to let you know that your microphone's working. You've got an option here called Show Everyone. I'm going to click on that. and it brings up everyone who is in the meeting with me. Right now, there's no one else here, but everyone else would be here. If they are signed in with their Google accounts, you will see them by their names. All right. If they're someone who called in using that phone number, then you'll just see their phone number. Now, if you're seeing where it says people and there's this little attendance chart next to it, I've got a special download that copies all of my attendance data into a spreadsheet in my Google Drive. I might make a video on that later. We're going to skip it for now. Chat is where students can enter messages. Let's say they're muted, but they have a question. I don't understand. It's a common question for students, right? The chat will pop up. Everyone in the meeting will see the chat. If they don't have their chat bar open, let's say they're just showing regular screen, then they'll see it pop up here as a little pop-up menu. All right. Then, of course, you can go back to chat and answer the student, or you can just use it as, okay, let me make sure I've got all the questions answered. And, oh, there was a question I missed. Little Billy wanted to know why you got to carry the 1. And so you can go back and review that if you need to. All right, so that's chat, that's people. Let's look over here on this corner. Meeting details. All right, this is where you get that URL to give to your kids, so they just click it and join your classroom immediately. You don't have to worry about a class code to join, a meeting code to join, that they might mess up and put the wrong letter on. You just give them that URL, post it in Classroom, they click it, boom, they've joined your meeting, no problem. This is also where you can find the phone number and everything like that. And of course, you can copy that information if you want to paste it somewhere else, like say in your classroom. Attachments. This really comes up if you're using this with Google Calendar, and we will make a video about that later. All right, let's say you want to use captions. Maybe you have some hearing impaired students, or you just like me, like captions. Turn that on. It kind of zooms you out a little bit. And let's see. Oh, it's not picking anything up. Why not? My microphone is muted. So I'm going to unmute my microphone. And I'm going to start talking. And we're going to find out how well Google can keep up with my voice as I'm giving this video. And it seems to be doing a fairly decent job. Neat. Now for a real test. Can it keep up in Spanish? Voy a decir algunas cosas en español para ver si puedo trucar a Google Translate. It didn't work. That's okay. All right, we're going to turn captions off. Now, let's say I want to show my screen to my students. All right. Come down here to present. And you have 3 options: your entire screen, a window, or tab. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pull up I have my Google Drive open over here. And I'm going to pull up one of my slideshows for my kids. And I'm going to present it to you so you can see what that looks like. All right. Let's go with the first day's. Hola y mucho gusto. Hello and nice to meet you. All right, so I'm going to have this up. I went ahead and put it into present mode. All right, so I've got 3 options here again: entire screen, one window, or Chrome tab. I'm going to show you what each one does. If I click on entire screen, then I see my 3 monitors. All right, entire screen is a monitor. I've got 3 monitors on my computer, so I see all 3 monitors. All right. For example, if I come back over here and you see how it's starting to update live as I change what's on that monitor. So I would pick which monitor I want to share, and I click share. Now, be careful with that, because while I'm sharing that monitor, if I exit out of that slideshow to say go to the kid's grade book, well, then that's private information that's being shared. So you got to be more careful about things like that. So only do that if you're going to only have that up. All right. Now, you notice when that happened, this little box appeared. Meet is sharing your screen. That's a good reminder to let you know your screen is being shared. I like to put it right in front, right up top and center while I'm presenting. The kids don't see this. They see the Lección Preliminar. And if you look up here next to my icon, my face up here, you see a presentation window that kind of gives you a preview of what's being shown on your on your PowerPoint, on your slideshow. You can also click this button to click stop sharing. So we're gonna stop sharing. All right. Notice how next to time, between me and time, that other window went away. Let's go look at the other one. Present a window. It's going to pull up every window I've got open. That means if I have, say, some software open, say Microsoft Word document, if I happen to have my Steam video game console open because I run the esports team, if I happen to have Movie Maker open, all of them will pop up at the same time, and I pick which one I want to show. That way I only show that one. So for example, I'm going to click Lección Preliminar, and I am going to go into little mode, and then I'm going to minimize it. Notice that it went away. It didn't show what was on the monitor behind it. It just made that window go away because that window's gone into sleep mode. So we're going to pull that window back up, and boom, it became available again. Click on that, click share. Again, the you are sharing popped up, which is a good helpful reminder for us. You can hide it. I don't, because I like to know, I like to remember that I'm sharing. And then whatever I show the kids is shown there. We're going to stop sharing that. The third way to share something is present now a Chrome tab. All right, you pull this up and it pulls up every tab you have open right now. I can click on the slideshow, boom, and it says, hey, you're sharing a tab. You can stop. And look next to my face. There's the thing again. Okay. Now, I can stop sharing, or I can tell you I'm going to share this tab instead. So I click share this tab instead, and boom, I'm now sharing this tab. And if you're curious, I'm looking for the little icon. Usually there's an icon up here that says, hey, you're sharing. I'm going to go back to share this tab instead. And I'm going to pull this over here so you can hopefully see it. As you can see, there's a little box that appears that lets me know this is the tab you're sharing to the kids. All right, I'm going to click stop. I'm going to close that tab. That way you can know which tab you're sharing, and you can use those buttons, share this tab instead, to switch between different tabs. And I do recommend when you get ready to run a classroom meeting, have everything open you want to go over in that session at one time if you can. Nothing's quite as bad as, okay, let's go on to the next section. Click to open. Tra-la-la. Sorry, kids. I've done it tons of times. It throws kids off their game. And better to have everything open at once and just switch between your tabs if that's what you want to do. And tab is probably the safest option for sharing your screen because you have to tell it when you're going to switch to something else. As opposed to, oops, I minimized and there's the grade book behind it, and now every kid's seen every kid's grades. And that's no bueno. All right, so over here in the bottom middle, we have microphone, where I can turn off the microphone again, turn it off. Camera, turn off the camera again, just like that. And of course, the hang up button when I'm going to hang up. Now, I'm going to tell you real quick, if you have kids in the meeting, you cannot hang up before every kid is out. Okay? You have to wait for every student to have left the meeting before you hang up. Otherwise, the meeting will still be running. You just won't be there monitoring it. And that can lead to terrible situations. So let's say you want to kick somebody out of the meeting because they're not leaving, or maybe they muted their computer and went back to sleep. It happens. Under people, you'll see a drop-down menu next to other people. You'll have a mute button where you can mute them. So if they forgot to mute their microphone and they're causing sound problems, you can mute them. You'll also have a cancel button, which will be how you kick them out of the meeting. Once you've gotten everyone out of the meeting, then you can hang up. Okay? Now, let's go over here to the menu option. These little three dots. Pull that up. We have record meeting. Always very good. That's actually how I'm making this video. I'm recording it off of another meeting. And I'll show you where those recordings pop up in a minute. So you can record your meeting. You can change the layout. Right now I'm on tiled. If I had a lot of people joined in, you would see tiles across my screen with other people. If you set it for spotlight, then the person who's talking pops up on your view. Now, you changing that layout does not change your student's layout. It changes your layout, and that's it. The other layout is sidebar. where it puts up the spotlight with other people off to the side. So it's really up to you how you want to do it. I prefer to use tiled to pull up and see my students all at once. Now, there's a problem. Tiled only goes up to 16. There are web extensions that are supposed to be able to fix that. We have been experimenting with them here at our school. We haven't found one that works well enough yet. We are still digging through them. And hopefully at some point, Google will just do this on their own. All right, go back to the menu. Full screen. What that will do is it just hide your toolbar and other things like that. Not a major deal. Exit full screen. You can turn on your captions here, just like you were able to turn on your captions on the bar up below. Turn that off. We'll talk about settings in a minute. Use phone for audio. We'll make a video about that at a later time. It's not really something I really recommend. And of course, you got reporting problems and abuse issues right here, along with their usual help menus. Now, settings. This is really good. You have audio and video settings for your microphone, speakers, and your webcam. Take a look at microphone and speakers. Microphone, mine is currently set up as my USB microphone because that's my webcam microphone. And those are the only 3 microphones. I just leave it at communications. Just leave it there. All right, speakers. You set which set of speakers you want to use. I use a set of earphones at the back of my computer. I'm not wearing them right now because I don't have to listen to anything right now. But if I were running a meeting, if I were teaching a class, I'd have this on. That way I could hear the students, but that way my microphone doesn't hear the students. And the reason that's important is if this webcam microphone picks up my student's voice, it'll feed back through the speaker again, be picked up again, along with any new noises I've made, and it'll keep looping, and within less than a second, you'll have a terrible high-pitched reverb sound coming out of your computer, and it'll be absolutely atrocious. So I heartily recommend using a full set of earbuds or earphones. I like earphones to prevent that from happening. That way you can hear the kids, they can hear you without terrible feedback noise. Back to settings. So you test which one you want to go with, and you can, of course, test whether or not it's working. And you can't hear anything because, of course, my sound doesn't come out of my speakers. It's coming out my earphones. But if I put my earphones on, I'd be able to hear it. Video, you pick which source of video you want to pull from. If for some reason you have multiple webcams, you'd be able to pick from multiple webcams. You can choose your definition. I don't really play with this at all because just really no need for me to play with it. I might make a video on that later on if it comes up to be an issue with some kids. Say, for example, if I'm sending out too much bandwidth of video for the children's home internet service to pick up, I might want to lower my video output just a little bit so they can still see me. It just may be less pretty. That way I don't tax their internet services as much. Anyway, now let's say I was recording this video. Once I stop recording, once I hit record, I'm going to hit record here. Always ask for consent. And of course, your students in your classroom should have already given their consent. You'll see it'll start recording. When that hits red, you are recording. Now, when that's turned on, you see it has stop recording. I'm going to stop recording. All right. So now so here, the recording will be saved to Google Drive. You might wonder, where in Google Drive will it be? Well, let me show you. Let me pull this up. Here is my Google Drive. Meet Recordings is a folder that will appear. Now, mine, I put a plus symbol on mine because I wanted it up towards the top. When it first appeared, it was way down here in the middle. If I open up Meet Recordings, these are all the videos I've made, including one I apparently made a few minutes ago. But one, and so the one that I made just a second ago, was only a few seconds, it will probably take it another minute or two to pop in. The longer the video, the longer it takes for it to appear in your Google Drive. So be aware of that. You'll make your recordings, and then you'll come back to it later on when you're ready to post that recording to Google Classroom. Now, also be aware, while you're recording, if you are recording a video and some student says something in the chat, it will pop up. So the students need to be told they are being recorded. If your school system is requiring, I was about to say parish because I live in Louisiana. if your school system requires you to have your students have their cameras on, make sure they are aware of that you're recording that session, and they need to be aware of what's in their background. Kind of like mine. I've just got a white brick background back there. So be aware of that. Be aware of that. Anything in your student's background is going to show. If they have to have their webcams on, whatever clothes or pajamas they're wearing that day are going to show up too. Encourage them to be appropriate for school. Encourage them to be careful of their chat, because that's also being recorded. Whenever you're done recording your chat, tell you what, I'm going to start one. I'm going to start recording again. Watch this. Let it get recording, because I forgot to do something. Let's say you're asking, well, what about the chat? Let's say some kid says some bad things in the chat function. Hi, I like tacos, because I do. Tacos are delicious. All right, so I've got some chat here, and it came on while the recording was on. Stop the recording. Being saved to Google Drive. Go back to Drive real quick. And what's going to happen is whenever it's finished saving that recording, it will give me the chat logs. I'm pulling up some of my older videos, and I've got chat functions from previous classes. One that's really useful for, hey, there was a question that was asked, and I'm already out of the meeting. What was it? 2, I always post the chat logs with the videos, so that kids can go back and look through them and look at the other answers that other kids gave them in class. Because there's one thing you can encourage using this is, I'm talking and kid pops in chat and says, I don't understand what he's saying. And you can be like, hey, it's cool. Don't sweat it. We're going to take care of it. And here's what he's actually saying, but a different way of saying it. You can have kids help each other in the chat, and then the chat log will let them see each other and let them see their answers. All right. But like I said, it appears with the video whenever the video pops in. Mine's apparently just taking a little while. And so that is Google Meet. That is the fast and dirty version of it. Let me go ahead and cancel this meeting. And let me go ahead, and if you notice, we're now back to this. If you notice, it was over here because that's where I had the meeting. It was over here to my side. Pull it back up, and now we're back to my original meeting where I was recording this to begin with. And so that is Google Meet. I hope it helps out. I hope it helps you out. I wish you luck with using this new system. And as always, please make sure to submit me any questions you may have. Hey, what was this? Hey, I found this other thing. Do you have any ideas on how to use this, stuff like that? Send me those questions. You can leave them in the comments below, or you can email them to me at jjohnson2@ebrschools.org, and let me know how I can better help you make this year a success. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a nice day.